To be honest, I even forgot the show was on. I was so busy at work that I actually woke up and I saw the notifications on Twitter, and
Mhm.
of course, it's the usual stuff. It's like the, the first female character stuff, what's the stuff that
I mean, I think
was.
at this point, like we can expect female
Yeah.
characters to be heavily involved in video games. I don't think it's a surprise.
No, but like,
Go on.
sorry, like it's not the involvement. It's like the usual stuff, like the usual, like look at how ugly Siri is. Look at that's
Mhm.
the stuff that popped up. Maybe it's the people I follow, but that's the stuff that popped up on my time. I'm like, oh crap, the Game Awards are on. Um, but to
Mhm.
answer your question, I didn't expect much. If I really have to think about it, because of the fact that like the Game of the Year nominees themselves, to me, I thought were a little bit dodgy, with Elden Ring being there, which I just think it literally is just taking up space for a game that would be worthy of that award. Um, I have no problem with Baletro or any of those games, but it was mainly just Elden Ring being there. I just think it's very disrespectful to people that made full games and not just expansions. And their games like Silent Hill not being nominated, Stellar Blade, etc. All those games deserved to be nominated because of the fact that they were people talked about those games when they came out, and they were also generally just good games that people enjoyed, that reviewed well and still sold well. So they did more for the industry than a game that had its year. And in its year, it got all the recognition it needed. There was no need for them to, push it in there again.
And to play devil's advocate, how about this angle that Elden Ring's expansion, the fact that it was so good, the fact that it was able to push these games like Silent Hill, um, Stalker, like whatever game you want to like put in place, that a DLC expansion was good enough or surpassed your single player adventure game. Should that not be recognized in the sense that, hey, listen, you guys made this product, but you're still being outdone by an expansion. Therefore, you need to level up. How about that angle?
I don't think that holds water because the year before that, the Cyberpunk 2077 expansion came out, and it literally changed the game and added so much value to that game, but it did not receive the same sort of recognition. And I believe it even reviewed better than the current DLC. What's the DLC called? Can you just give me the name? I just want to check.
Shadow of
As
Earth Tree
Shadow
of
of
Earth Tree.
Tree. Yeah, and I mean, like, it was like so difficult. It was not very accessible for most people anyway. So it wasn't as played as the original, and I don't even think it reviewed that well. Let's see. Oh, okay, it did review well. It got 94. Okay, so I'm thinking of Steam reviews. It was
Yeah,
not
no,
very well
it did well.
received.
Everyone really liked it. But I think I'll agree with you. This is the first year that I think the Game Awards have been kind of generally. I agree with every single nomination. I agree with
Yeah.
what Jeff is doing, and this is the first year where I felt but Balatro and Airtree shouldn't really have been there. It was a bit weird. And I'm not trying to
Yeah.
take a shot at the guy who made Balatro. I think that's it's a good game. I've
Yeah.
heard good things
Yeah.
about it, but just the fact that it was a card game, based off poker, is like, is this really what we're doing here? Like, are we giving um this game the game of the year? Like, was this the game that everybody was talking about? Like, even
Nah.
Wukong. Like, I look at Black Myth Wukong and I'm thinking that game did so
Yeah.
well, and it reviewed well as well. But like, we're just gonna give it to Balatro. But what I will say is that even if Balatro did win, it would have showed the industry in a different light that we do recognize all types of games. So
Yeah.
I agree that it would have done well for the industry, at least from an optics point of view. But no, I don't believe that game was game of the year. No way.
Yeah, dude. Like, I just think when you're talking about Game of the Year, you need to be very holistic in your approach. You need to look at like, reviews don't matter anymore. To be honest, like we are in a situation right now where there's like a civil war between gamers and journalists, and so reviews are very subjective. It comes down more than ever. There was a time when game or gamers respected review sites before the clickbait days. And I think then you could say that, well, if a game reviews well, then definitely it needs to be there and get consideration for things like Game of the Year, etc. But we're so far from that I feel that you need to look at reviews, you need to look at sales, you need to look at impact. Look at, and you've got all those statistics. Look at things like, for instance, what was the Google trending 100, in terms of like when you're looking at those, all that type of stuff. Like, what was the impact of your game in the overall industry? And then again, for titles like Baletro and things like DLC, you could have subcategories for that. I don't understand why you have to take these games that did not, to your point, have the same sort of impact in gaming overall in terms of, dialogue, sales, reviews. I don't understand how those games just make it there. It's good for them, but I think it would be just as good for them if they are recognized within their genres or within their categories. Um, yeah, so that's how I feel basically or generally about the actual Game of the Year nominees that made it to that shortlist.
Okay. In terms of the actual Game Awards itself, before we get into like
Mm,
some details of announcements, do you actually did you like? I mean, I don't know if you watched it, but did you actually?
I did.
Yeah, you did watch it. Did you think it was a good production?
So I normally watch it with like my favorite streamers. Like last year, I watched it with like David Jaffe. This year, I watched it with Esmond Gold, like when he was going through it. And my thing is like there's nothing that's changed though, Tai. Like to me, it's still the same thing. And my problem that I have with it is the pretension. I'm so over this thing of, and I get it. I don't think Jeff is really that much of a creative guy, so he's not the guy to sort of take this thing and elevate it to the next level. What I mean by that is gaming is not Hollywood, right? Like I'm so over this thing of trying to ape Hollywood. Hollywood is doing so poorly, especially these award shows. Nobody watches the Oscars anymore. Nobody watches the MTV Awards. Nobody watches any of that stuff. Nobody cares. So why are they still trying to emulate that? This whole thing should be fun. It shouldn't be a gala event. It should be a fun thing done in an arcade at Space World, in a gaming related type of setup where there's that excitement, with gamers and even the categories. Like they need to make this thing more for the people that actually enjoy video games and not make this pretentious presentation that's trying to be like a Hollywood, 5-star event with all these celebrities. Nobody gives a crap about that. In terms of the actual trailers and stuff, yeah, like what, there were some interesting announcements, especially the smaller ones. The bigger ones are exactly what you sort of expect from it. But in terms of enjoyment, and another thing, dude, is that these things are just too long, bro. Like, who's got 3 hours to watch this thing? You need to cut. I get it. You have to advertise. You have to do all this other stuff, and a lot of people tune in and out of it. And as a result, you get like this huge number at the end of the day in terms of how many people actually tuned in. But I really do feel tired that this thing could be more formatted for gamers, so it's more digestible for the people that actually play these games. And don't build the whole thing up to be just a trailer event. I don't know how you're gonna do that. I don't have the answers, but I just feel that like you need a little bit more creativity in terms of pitching this and making it a game centric show. If I'm making sense.
Yeah, I understand you, but I feel like we're completely on different pages here, right? I look at what Jeff has done, and I'm saying to myself, "Oh, how can you improve?" So the first time there was too many, there was too much ads, right? And then he toned it down. Next time we say, "Hey, listen, you don't let the developers speak as much," and he said, "Okay, you know what? We're gonna let them speak." I'm looking at this show, and I'm seeing the awards. And there's awards here that we don't really necessarily care about, and they don't talk about it. They just kind of give them, their recognition, and that's it.
Yeah.
The studio gets a award, on the side, and it is what it is. But from a production point of view, there was way less ads than the previous year, so he's not making as much money. Now maybe he might have increased the cost of these developers paying him, but
Yeah.
that's not our issue. That's the developers' issue, and they have the money, so it is what it is. So there's that.
Yeah.
The dolls or whatever you want to like, what do we call those things? Those talking things or whatever. They were hilarious. Like this is the first time where all the jokes to me was landed. Everything was funny. Everything
Yeah,
was
that
it
was a
wasn't as,
good addition. I
yeah, it
agree.
wasn't as cringe. And the fact
But
that
like,
he's taking shots at himself with those things is hilarious. Like it's good. You know, he has what's what I'm looking for. He's aware. He's self-aware of himself, right? He's self-aware of the critique, and even just there, you know, you would see in his post, he says, "Hey, listen, what? How can we improve for next year again?" So he's actually listening. He's making changes, and the only issue or where this show succeeds or doesn't succeed is in the quality of the trailers being shown. I've seen people say things like, "It's not really an
yeah.
award show, or whatever." But I mean, listen, I don't care about the movie awards. I don't care about the music awards. This is the game awards,
Mm.
right? And what we want is something that's E3 like. You know, it needs to be on an award show mixed in with E3, and I think that's what we're getting. Um,
Um, but you see, that's the thing. Like, I think that's the dream, is to mix it. But and again, it depends how you remember E3. Because if I think about E3 and I think about like what I remember like the exciting E3s for me were like pre 2015. After 2015, the whole thing sort of like went pear shaped and went downhill. Like E3 used to be exciting because of the booths and the fact that like what they were doing with the booths and the fact that the whole thing was built around experiencing the games from the gamer's perspective, not just watching trailers like what we got later on when Xbox was the majority of like the show or the focus during that E3 period. Back in the day prior to 2015, E3 was very much, and that's the thing about gaming. Gaming is not movies, it's about being interactive, and I just feel that all these shows just become these semi movie things. And that's to me, that's not like my thing. That's not what I'm into when I tune in. I'm not the target audience for these award shows. I'm not sure who is. Maybe you are more
well,
because
I
you
mean,
enjoy.
hundreds of people. I mean, I think they got like 100 million people watching it this time. So a lot of people do
Yeah,
watch
but I
it.
mean, it's always around that. It's always like 90. But like my thing
No,
is
no,
like,
it's been steadily increasing. Like it's done. I think the last one increased by was it 15-20%. Like every single year, it seems to get better. And I
yeah,
think Jeff alluded,
absolutely.
alluded to it this year being even like a better
But the thing
from
is,
that point of view.
but what people are looking at is they're looking at like the total viewership. They're not looking at like how many people tuned in for the first hour and then just sort of like ignored like or just what's the word, pieced out by the
I mean,
second
like the
hour.
runtime.
Or yes, or looking at like for instance, during that show, because it probably has spikes, right? It probably has when like for instance when the Witcher trailer was on, that probably spiked. So, whenever people are expecting something that they're interested in, then it probably spikes. So, again, I don't think the whole show is for a very specific sort of like audience, but people come in and sort of watch as something that they're interested in is on. And again, it gives them good numbers overall. But I just wonder how much that translate into sort of like sustainability, and and sort of like for him as a platform into making it a profitable platform. But for me, I just don't think the current format is for me. Like the way that they're doing it now, I sort of like watch it passively. I'm not really that engaged from start to finish. I sort of jump in and out, which I suspect that most other people do as well. They sort of jump in and out. They're not like watching the whole thing through. And maybe that's not the cause. But again, if you want people to watch the whole thing through, then you need to cut down the runtime, in my opinion. You need to make it more digestible, and it needs to be meat and no filler. And yeah, it's improved from. I mean, the first one in 2014 was atrocious. So yes, the production values have improved. Yes, he's taken feedback. I'm giving him credit for that. He's done a lot of things to improve the show, but I still feel like it's still an award show that's very Hollywood aping, for the lack of a better word. It's still trying to be like with those old school shows from the TV days when TV was important and movies were big. And I think we're way past that. We need to be a little bit more creative. And again, I don't have the answers. I don't know how you can make it more digestible.
Um, I think when you brought up E3, that was a good point in the sense that, hey, listen, E3 was a lot more interactive. However, my pushback there would be, for who, right? When I was watching E3 back in the days, someone got on stage and they announced the games that they were coming out. I watched it for those trailers, and that was it. Like as soon as Bethesda was done saying their bit, Xbox was done saying their bit, and what then happened was everyone who was at E3, they then went off and played the games, and then they came back
Exactly.
to us and spoke about it, right?
Exactly. That's
Yeah,
exactly it.
but I think that's a
That
little bit
whole
different.
let's go play the games. Like it's available now. It's on the floor. We've shown it to you. We've spoken about it. Not this bullshit of you showing me a trailer and then, oh, okay, that's nice. Wait for 5 years till you get gameplay. They show it to you, but there's always something to interact or play with at every booth. And that's what brought the people in. And that's what the excitement was because then they could report back, in the magazines and in the
Yeah,
websites
the
back in the day
magazines.
to
I
say,
agree there.
yeah. And
But I
then you
think
get the
that's more.
demos in the
But I would
CDs.
say that's more Gamescom, right? So, and I think the Game Awards is slightly different in the sense that it's more of a recognition award, right? So, like when you say what you're saying, which I get, I think we're kind of focusing more on the reviewers, the industry telling us, oh, though this game is good, the IGN saying, yeah, play this game or whatever it is. I don't know if that's necessarily something like I care too much about. I recognize
Yeah.
that the Game Awards is primarily just a trailer showcase, but remember, I can't remember which studio it was, but they said, sorry, was it Sega? They said, hey, listen, tune in for our live stream later on where we show you Virtua Fighter. So I think there's a situation where they can um, maybe give these like IGNs and GameSpots their game a week in advance, and then they can drop a review on it. I think we've seen that a little bit with even Xbox's showcase, where you can
Yeah.
actually where these guys get the game in early, and then they Xbox drops a trailer, and then they drop a review or whatever it is, a preview. So I think there is ways to fix that element of it. But I don't think the Game Awards is necessarily an issue. I recognize it's different from E3. Maybe we do miss that E3 vibe, but the core of E3 for me was always the trailers. It was always like, what are you announcing? And, Ryan McCaffrey or Destin going to go play these games and tell me that they're great. I mean, that was always kind of secondary to me. I was more concerned about, seeing gameplay. Like right now,
But
like
that's the
we're
thing, though.
watching Dying Light,
Yeah.
the new game. And this is what I watched E3 for, to see the game myself, not necessarily to have somebody tell me how good the game is. That was secondary to it. So I don't
Yeah,
think
but
it's an issue.
but now remember, you like the guy would tell you about the game and say, by the way, it's included in the CD that comes with the magazine. You can watch because the thing is with E3 back in the day, we didn't even watch it live because I remember where I was like the internet, YouTube was not a thing prior to like 20 like in 2015, yeah, maybe. But prior to that, like 2010, 2012, those early days, YouTube was not a thing. You couldn't go and watch this on a stream. You got it in that CD that came with the magazine. So you went through that and then you sort of read the articles and then they would tell you like in the article, oh yes, if you want to see more of this, the trailer is in the CD or the DVD that comes with the magazine. Oh, by the way, there's also a demo from that same booth that you can try out. So to me, that's where the excitement was, and I just feel that now it's way more spectator. It's way more, and I hate the fact that like we've gotten to the point that these guys don't even know how to produce good game based trailers anymore. I think we are at the lowest point where you can get people excited off trailers because everything is good production values, but it's empty. It's hollow, doesn't tell you anything about the game. The same conversation we were having earlier on Twitter. And I feel that is also a problem that's adding to it is that there's a lack of sort of like building excitement just through a trailer. I mean, how many trailers did people walk away from being like super freaking excited about with no sort of like divisive, afterthought of like, I don't think there were any.
Well,
I think everything
I
was kind
think
of
I
like,
have an answer to
okay.
that. When Cyberpunk was launched, and there was that gameplay trailer, and there was all these things happening. I think some of the feedback that they got was, at least what maybe Jason Schreier might have reported on this, but somebody did anyway, and they said that we had to literally take a side step to make this trailer and the vertical slice. And what that does is that just wastes our time, because rather than actually making the game, it just creates one, unrealistic expectations, and two, like now we're just like not actually developing the product that people are actually going to buy. Then when the game finally comes out, There's a disconnect between what you saw earlier on and what you're actually playing right now. So I don't mind the fact that this change has happened. And one thing that we can all say is that these trailers cost a lot of money. And the question then becomes, is it worth it? Is the juice worth the squeeze? Do we
Then
need
don't
to
show
make
the
this?
game. Like if your game is that far out and is that far unready in terms of you don't have anything that's playable, don't show the game. Stay away from showing the game. I don't want to see a CG trailer because none of that is going to be in the final product. I don't care. Like I'm so over
Yeah,
that.
but the CD,
I'm not willing.
the CD trailer gives you a type of vibe check, right, or what you could potentially expect from the game. Like I'm not
I
saying,
don't
I'm not saying
care,
they're great,
Ty.
but they're not,
Ty,
they're not bad.
Why are you showing me a trailer of a movie that I'll never see?
I mean, you could add it to the cutscene, especially if it's in
No,
game. Wait,
no.
oh, hold on. The Naughty Dog trailer, right? That was in game, right? Yeah, that was in game.
No, well, it was in engine. That's what I
In-engine.
like. That's
So
what
wait,
they say. Is that
are you against in engine?
yes, yes. I
In engine
don't
as well.
care. I don't care. I'm so over the whole in-engine thing because it's not representative whatsoever of the final product. And even then, when they do make it part of the final product, they have to do the same thing when they do a vertical slice. They have to now try and build a part of the game around what they showed. So I would rather actually have actual tangible person playing. And I don't think that's that difficult. If you've already started developing the game, just polish one part of the game that you're going to have in the final, well, or whatever you think you're going to have in the final game. Even if you get backlash or, like, look at how positive the response was from what people saw from Cyberpunk. They could have controlled that and say, well, guys, do you think you will have this available in the game in some form or another? Yes or no? Yes, no. But if you are going to go ahead and say, well, because what happened there is that the producers of the game were over ambitious. They said, show us the best thing that you possibly, not what's possible in the final game or what you can possibly do with the mechanics that we have now. They literally did what BioWare did with like Anthem. Say, build us something that's gonna blow people away just for the show. That is also the wrong approach. You can do it in a way where you have middle ground, Taye, where people can get a good slice of what the game is going to be, but there's actual gameplay and they can experience what they are going to expect. If your game is not there yet,
Wait, so
and
are
the
you
only thing-
arguing
yes.
that the only trailers we should be getting then is just gameplay trailers? Because
Absolutely.
the way I'm looking at even Naughty Dog's new game, it's been in development for 4 years. So like, if
Exactly.
this game is coming out in 2 years' time, and they're just finishing up some touches or whatever they're doing, you don't want to see this trailer.
No, like unless I can see what they've been working. Because I mentioned this in my video. Sorry, in my post on Twitter. I
Yeah,
said
we'll get to those posts. Don't
yeah.
worry.
So like one of my things that I said was, if you've been working on a game for 4 years, right? You have a good probably 2/3 of the game is somewhat playable or in a playable state. Pick a part of that game and then show somebody playing. Like there were so many things wrong with that trailer, with that Naughty Dog trailer, and just starting with the fact that like, why is it? And this is how Naughty Dog and Sony have decided to make games: is it's CG gameplay, CG gameplay. Why is it if I was the guy that was producing that game, that whole part that you were watching, that would have been interactive? Even if it's freaking QuickTime, I don't care. But make it interactive. It's a video game. It's not a movie. Girl cutting her hair, press triangle to pick up clippers. Zzz. So I can see that, oh, this is not just a video. This is something that you can do within the game. So she's busy cutting her hair. She needs to cut her hair. You know how David Cage's games play out? Have something to that effect, because at least
Yeah,
it's
but
still
then
interactive.
that might be misrepresentation, right? Because if you can't press the scissors to cut her hair, people are going to expect that in the game, and then they're going to complain. Like, if you think about it
No.
this way, yeah, it could be a case where, like, put it this way, you're in a situation where you've kind of done something where you've kind of looked at like the industry in the past. Hey, the magazine era, right? You kind of made this jump to like, hey, we missed the nostalgic era of things, yeah. But this is part of that nostalgic era. This fact that we can get these CGI trailers and it can
No.
be perfectly fine.
The thing is, back in the day, CGI trailers were exciting because they looked very different from what the game is. And you sort of knew that, okay, cool, this is sort of like, wow, we're at the point in technology where you can do movies like this. So I'll get a cutscene in Final Fantasy. that looks like this. And what happened is then this is when the Japanese were still leading in gaming. Tai, is that then what Square started to do is incorporate those awesome CG and those cutscenes into like transitions in between games. So that became part of the experience, which made it even more exciting. Where we are now is that they're just showing us movies. What did I gain as a gamer from watching that 5 to 10 minute trailer for Intergalactic in terms of gameplay wise? How did that make gaming better?
Well, it's not about the game. It's about the vibe, right? So, for example, we see the aesthetics
Yeah.
of the game, so we have an idea of what the game looks like, and then we see the fact that like she has a sword or weapon. That doesn't show us the gameplay, but okay, we know she does a weapon in the game. We see the buzz cut, so we kind of see the kind of style they're going for from a character point of view. We see the voice acting. There's a lot to kind of take apart from that trailer. Like, I know in movies they do this a good bit, where you show a trailer and people will dissect every single part of that trailer to like it's a 2 minute clip that turns into a 1 hour dissecting trailer, and I'm already seeing videos on Naughty Dog's, what's the game called again? Naughty Dog's new game,
Intergalactic.
the Intergalactica.
Intergalactic
Like the reason why there's so much pushback to that game is because Naughty Dog has said this trailer is the vibe, and some people are pushing against that vibe. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that per se. Now we could argue about putting gameplay into it, but I don't even think from an industry point of view we always had gameplay with these CGI trailers. I think it's perfectly fine. Even Final Fantasy, I'm pretty sure they're known for making these awesome trailers. Blizzard, Diablo, they make amazing trailers, and those trailers are meant to kind of convey a type of feeling to you. Hey, there's the devil or whatever you want to call it. Hey, they're being choked, and this is what we're going for. And I think we can take it like that. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Todd Howard and Bethesda did a great job in Fallout 4, where they said, you know what? Boom. Here's the game. Here's the release date. And I think we can respect that a lot. However, I'm not against these trailers. I'm not against any of these things. I was happy with when I saw Fable, the first trailer for it. I was happy when I saw even Okami. There's no gameplay footage here that was. Let me go back to Okami real quick. There was no gameplay footage that we saw for Okami, and would it have been great if hey, they showed us this trailer and then we got the game in a couple of months? Yeah, but this is okay. This is letting you know, like, hey guys, this game is being made right now, and here's the team working on it. Kamiya is working on it, right? So, okay. For example, Okami, you don't think they should have showed this?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying they shouldn't have shown this. I'm just saying, go back to your example about they do this in movies a lot, where they break it down and you have nerds dissecting what they saw in a Star Wars. But what's the medium, Tai?
Movies.
Exactly. What is this medium?
This is video games, but I mean, video games.
Exactly.
Yeah, but hold on. But hold on. Video games takes different mediums. It takes music. It takes even literature to an extent, and it takes movies. It takes all these things that puts it into one. So
Okay.
when we talk about video games, we're actually kind of just cross-checking between all these other art forms. So it is possible. Like even this Mafia, yeah, I didn't see in this trailer whatsoever any gameplay. Like this is just all cinematics.
Because they don't show gameplay at all at these events. They just show you cinematics, and I'm over that. I'm saying I don't. I am like Taya. I'm at the point where there was a time when they had a good balance. Now they're not even trying for the balance. And then what happens is that you only get the gameplay 6 months before the game launches. Then you start to see the gameplay. And I'm like, so what are we doing here? Like what is the medium? The medium is supposed to be about interactivity. And we're moving, especially in AAA gaming, further and further away from it. The only people that still honor this whole the true and tried old tested formula of showing gameplay is either Nintendo or it's smaller indie developers that make games for Steam, because they understand how important it is for you to see what you're going to be getting more or less in the final product. Also to just gauge your response. How excited are you about this? How is this, not in terms of a concept, but is this a game you would be interested to play? Now, like, I don't know what sort of game that this, like, for instance, this Naughty Dog, I know what they're going for. They're going for Guardians of the Galaxy meets what's this game? Not really Starfield. Okay, let me say Guardians of the Galaxy meets Akira meets probably their own Last of Us type of like because I can feel that the game is going to have like very heavy subject matter from like, what they had with the pictures and the photos. So it's all those things. They're going for all those themes. But in an interactive medium, it's so important for people not just to show or hear or see, but like for people to sort of see what the interaction is going to be. What is the triangle going to do? Especially now, where like we're in a point where the graphics are so good. Show people what this is going to look like when you're interacting with the world. Very similar to like how the Bethesda Starfield, thing was. That to me was exciting, even though it was it was Todd Howard overselling a concept that he wouldn't be able to sort of like or stick the landing with. But still, for a show, that is what I expect everyone to do, is say, look, Chiquita, if there's a movie and it opens with her cutting her hair, that's fine the entire, like, let her cut her hair and I don't interact with it. But I just feel that, again, that is such laziness in an interactive medium for you to be showing people freaking CGI trailers. I don't care.
Man, this is like such a hard disagree, because like I'm even going to show you something like now that I think is good. Like when this is Starfield. When the first trailer that Bethesda showed, right? And the reason why to me they're showing this is they're not showing this for the casual audience. They're not showing this for anyone else. They're showing this for the hardcore gamers who love video games, who breed video games, who are going to go on the Reddit pages and talk about these games like endlessly nonstop. I joined the Starfield Reddit page well before this, and this is the part I want to highlight here. As soon as what Bethesda has shown here literally is, hey guys, we're going to make a trailer that we want you to dissect and just understand. And as soon as we see this, we realize, oh shit, this vibe is not Mass Effect like. It's not Mass Effect, it's not Star Trek. It's very cluttered and messy, And then we see a guy climb out the stairs here. And, if you're a Bethesda fan, you know that Bethesda, they don't really do, ladders very well, right? So this is hint. I remember talking to people about this, like, yo, they got ladders in this game. Then we're seeing the touchscreen, we're seeing the pad, and we understand that this is NASA punk. This is Bethesda saying, Ty's sister and Ty's friends who are casual gamers don't care about these things. But look, even the gun, like, even that says so much about the game. Like, yeah, okay, you got a gun. This is how it's going to look like. The sandwich is there, right? The cups are there. It's conveying a message to you. And once again, these are for the losers. If you want to call them that, the hardcore people. And let's see this. Don't use there. That's a helmet that's damaged. It's telling you so much in the game. Yeah. And they're not putting this on on YouTube trailers. They're not putting this for on an ad after the Super Bowl. They're just saying this is for Ty and his friends who are crazy fans. And as soon as the trailer comes out, you have an influx of people who are obsessed, who go straight to Reddit and they start making this content around this product. Right now, for maybe people like you, it's like, this is bullshit, and Bethesda knows that, so they don't care about that yet. But they'd say, know what, Ushers, we have something for you 2 or 3 years later that's gonna blow your mind away. We're gonna do a showcase with Starfield details. I think that's kind of what they're going for.
Yeah, like, then you know what, you're absolutely right. Then maybe they're not making, like, again, like I've been saying this for a very long time. I'm no longer the target for whenever they're selling a AAA big game. Because I'm very old school in the sense that even when Square Enix was the king of making CG trailers, they always tried to sort of like implement that into gameplay. Like, look, this is how this is going to affect your gameplay. The CG is not just CG for the sake of CG. It has relevance to the game, right? And you will be able to appreciate it as part of the gameplay. It's not just you sitting and watching. You're going to get to interact with the CG trailer. And they did that very well, especially with Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII going forward. And then, of course, after, let's say, Final Fantasy X, let me say 12, it just became CG for the sake of CG, because a lot of the people that sort of had that vision of integrating CG into gameplay left the company. And again, if you look at the interest in their games, in my opinion, sort of dwindled from fans like me. So you're absolutely right. This is not targeted at a guy like me. I'm more interested to see what am I going to be able to do in this world tangibly. I love, for me, some of the best trailers were, like, for instance, the Halo 2 trailer that had New Mombasa. That was still legendary. even though that was not in the game, but we got a representation of what playing Halo 2 would have been like. Another one that I can sort of just off memory that I can think of that really blew me away, and sort of like changed, or like, how I view trailers was the Metal Gear Solid 4 trailer, which again, it was just CG within the game, but Kojima is so good at showing you a slice of the game or a part of the game, and it's not just CG with Kojima. It's the sort of CG that represents your experience in the game. And that War Has Changed trailer, I don't know how many times I watched it, because I knew that, knowing Kojima, this is what I'm gonna get to play. With the rest of these guys, they just do movie stuff. And another thing with Kojima, when he does it, it's always so creative and so artistic that it's not like a WB or a Universal movie trailer. It's like something you've never seen even in the movie medium itself. It's something that's exclusive and unique to gaming. Like, for instance, the Death Stranding movies, where these weird creatures just appear on the beach. There's babies there's babies in people's mouths. It's surreal. It's an experience. These things you just watch and you just yawn because, like, oh, another
Yeah,
CG
but I feel like
trailer.
that's a double. Like, I get what you're saying, but I think you're making exceptions then, because Kojima's these trailers from Death Stranding, they don't really do anything, right? So we've seen them talk, we've seen them conversate, we've seen the babies. Like, the trailer is pretty
Oh,
similar to some of these other games, right? Even like the
babies in people's throats, bruh. No,
no,
I
but
don't
we see those trailers. Yeah, but like, it's the exact same thing, though, isn't it? Because he's just saying like, okay, yeah, this is part of the game, so we're going to show you. Okay, I'll give you an example now. The game we're watching right now, the TV is not the TV, sorry, the ship is part of the game, though. Like that's going to be a feature, right?
and it says Porsche on it.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's a different conversation. We'll get to that in a bit. But
Okay, but
the ship is
okay,
part of the
yeah.
game, though. So we
Okay,
can't say like, oh well, we give Kojima a pass because the baby's part of the game, but the
all
ship is going to
right,
be part of the
cool.
game too.
Okay, cool. So let me ask you a question.
Hmm.
Have you seen a movie trailer similar to this?
A movie.
Yes or no? Yes.
Um, well, the Joker guy was staring at himself on the screen, um, and then he smiled. Yeah, I mean snippets, I suppose.
Would this, would this be outside of the, like, if I said to you this is from an upcoming movie,
Hmm.
like a upcoming Hollywood movie, it would be an easy thing for you to digest because, yeah, it fits right in, right?
Hmm.
It's easy, it's recognizable, it's got a lot of elements, like, for instance, the music and everything that sort of plays into things like Guardians of the Galaxy,
Yeah.
people liking stuff from the 80s. This is very Hollywood, this is very Netflix. It reminded me of a Netflix movie. There's a lot of movies, smaller movies, that are done like by Koreans and by other, French and Italians on Netflix, like sci-fi movies that are very similar in theme, with bounty hunters and all that type of stuff. So to me, this feels very at home with Hollywood. None of what, like, Kojima typically shows is recognizable. Like, if you showed that to a person that just watches movies, they'd be like, "What the fuck did I just watch?" I
Yeah,
just
but
feel that.
but I think what you're doing is like it's the same thing, but Kojima's quirky, right? So so with that being said, his trailers are gonna be quirky, but they're still the exact same thing. They're conveying the exact same thing. Just Kojima's ones are weird. So obviously, put it this way: Neil Druckmann is trying to convey certain things. He's trying to convey this person's a bounty hunter. Good, okay, we got that. This person has a gun. He's gonna shoot. Yeah, we got that. This person has a sword. Yes. This person has a ship. Yeah. Like, Neil Druckmann is conveying certain things in this game. He probably has a handler. This is a handler. This is the guy's price tag. Kojima will do this, but he would do it differently in a weird way. But they're still conveying the exact same message, right? So I think the
Yeah.
difference is there's certain things. If the trailer, if you like the trailer, you're gonna say it's okay, it's cool, like fine, I get it. But if you don't like the trailer, you're gonna say, well, this sucks.
Look, and again, I don't want us to sort of dwell on this, but, like,
I'm just joking with
no,
you.
like, my thing is this, right? Is, again, this to me looks like it's very, like, this could be a movie. This could be a, whatchamacallit, this could be a Netflix. This could be a Hollywood cinematic release. it's just everything in this trailer is so recognizable. It's so familiar. It's been there, done that. It does not, like, gaming is supposed to be challenging. It's supposed to, because it needs to entice you into interacting with the world, not just observing it. This is just nice eye candy that, I would love to watch this as a movie more than I'd be interested to play it as a game. Whereas with Kojima, he really sort of drives the point home is that, wow, I wonder what it feels like to walk around in that space. I wonder how it feels like when these things are crawling next to me and I'm stuck in this. And, he integrates gaming mechanics into his trailers. This to me is something that literally it could be a nice like Pixar type of movie. It looks great. I'm not saying presentation wise it's fine, but it doesn't really entice me, and that's just me, to interact with the world. And I just feel that a lot of the trailers that we get now are really just for show. They're really much more Hollywood and production values, and they don't really go into sort of enticing you and wanting to interact with the world.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're gonna disagree there. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
fine.
Yeah, we can do
What is
that.
this
Like,
with the
this is
Discman?
this is Kojima's game. This is on the beach. You know?
Oh, immediately look at that. I didn't even know it was, but immediately I was interested. Wonder
Yeah,
why.
I guess listen, there's probably an art to making trailers, but still, I think like this is the point I'm trying to make. Kojima's conveying certain emotions and certain themes in this game. So even though I haven't played this game, even though there's nothing to do with gameplay in this game, I care about the message in the exact same way how if I'm a Kojima fan, I'm taking this trailer as a fan, a fanboy. I'm going on Reddit and I'm speaking to people about every single detail in this game. And again, this is not a trailer for the casual fans who are going to buy the game. Like they don't need to see
Yeah.
this trailer. This is specifically just for his core audience, who wants something
Yes.
to feed on. In the same way, like listen, I remember when I joined the Avowed Reddit page years ago. These guys are begging for Microsoft to drop any information, every single
Yeah.
line, every single interview. I remember even when From Software announced that hey, listen, those rumors are about it being a open world game, and that Reddit page was lit up. Everyone was talking
Yeah.
about an open world game. Then it was like,
Excuse
hey,
me.
listen, we're getting George R.R. Martin. Once again, it lit up. Everyone's talking about it. And I went to my friend who was a big Souls guy, and I was like, "Yo, do you hear it's gonna be open world? It's gonna be Georgia." And you know what he said? He says like, I mean, my friend Tony, he was like, "I don't care. I just care
Yeah.
about when the game comes out. That's what I care about." And Hideki, he knows this. He knows that like there's people who don't care about these things. They only care about when the game is ready to go. But someone like Kai cares about these details, and he's like, you know what? I'll drip feed you because it's you guys who keeps the game alive. It's you guys, that kind of helps us build the game in towards the actual release. So
Yeah.
we're gonna help you here and there. But listen, let's move on from that topic.
Yeah. No.
You said a few spicy things, and one of them was, let me see if I can get it here, is when VGT Gaming News said it looks like Naughty Dog has the comments disabled on the trailer for Intergalactic, the
Yes.
heretic prophet on YouTube, and you responded and said, we have a word for it. I learned it this year. It's called toxic positivity. I think in another similar trailer, you said it shows you how confident they are in their product.
Yes, I did.
So
I
two
did say-
2 points then. Do you think it's toxic positivity? And two, do you think that they're not confident in their product?
No, I think they're very. I think Neil Druckmann is very confident in his product. That's the one thing I'll say about him. He's an artist through and through, and I respect that about him. He's a creative, but I feel that like he's a guy that's more interested in making movies than he is, like he wants to tell stories in a very visual medium versus interactive. I think that's his approach. So I think here you're not going to get anything revolutionary in terms of gameplay, but presentation-wise, he's going to give you something that is very, very interesting. So no, I like to answer your first question. I don't think Naughty Dog is like, especially him. He's very confident in this product, which is why he's only showing this much, and and he didn't even show a date or anything like that. I don't think he has any doubts about like the quality of what he's making, and rightfully so.
Okay, so that's that point.
Hmm.
Do you think in general when developers stop, comments from coming through, do you think
Yeah.
that's a sign of fear, or do you think it's actually just
Yes.
them trying to protect the actual game?
No. See, that's where I think the thing is. It's not him being not confident in his product. It's him not, and this is where the toxic positivity thing comes in. It's him almost expecting the sort of feedback that he's getting. It's them saying, like, and I don't understand this mentality of what are you protecting by limiting negative feedback? Like, you're not protecting your staff. There's people are still gonna, if people want to find them, they'll find them on Facebook. And nobody, like, there's no information on this trailer that how can I say, there's nothing that Facebook comments will harm people with from this trailer. It's you not wanting to hear negative things about your game. And to me, that concerns me. Why don't you want to get negative feedback about your game? That's very weird to me. Like, if you are, again, I don't think he's not confident in it. I just think it's this trepidatious. It's got to do with him more trying to limit the sort of oversight from, say, his overlords. The people like Sony, like especially after things like Concord. It's trying to limit that risk internally of a blowback where they're gonna bring other people in and say, "Whoa, look at the feedback. It's so negative. We need to we need to freaking Neil. What's going on here? Look, your audience is not responding positively. Um,
So I
what's
think
happening?"
I think the okay, I that last part I can get it. I think
Yeah.
the where I would disagree here is
Mm-hmm.
this is not an element of toxic positivity because you need to look at the critique, right? So when a game comes out and it does bad from a gameplay point of view, people are saying, "Hey, the stealth is off, the guns,
Yeah.
the bullets don't sound well," and people can be, they'll give all this critique back. We never seen the YouTube comments get turned off ever. However,
Yeah.
the change has occurred where people are not commenting on the games themselves; they're commenting on the characters that you're playing at. And it doesn't matter if the
Yes.
character is an original new character, it's people just hating and commenting. So for example, if
Okay.
this character was let's say a man and was well built, people wouldn't be as angry. They wouldn't be saying all these, negative comments. But because the
Okay.
character presents or seems like, first of all, the character's first problem is, the gender. That's one. Two, they have a buzz cut, which kind of gives, a vibe of this person is part of the LGBTQ community. And then when you see those
Yes.
2 points being the main issue, and the question is, okay, so we have to eradicate, women who may be LGBTQ community for you to be happy. At that point, you're dismissing that person's comment because there's nothing constructive about it.
So my point is, like, who are you? So what are you doing, Tai? Who are you protecting here?
Oh, I can tell you straight up, yeah. As somebody who really started getting into this conversation when Yasuke Assassin's Creed Red came, the trailers dropped. The trailer dropped, and I'm there watching, and I decided to swipe down to the comment section, and what happened straight away is these tourists just pop up, hundreds of them, thousands of them, and all they're saying is black shit game. Is just negative negativity
But
after negativity.
okay, fair
And at
enough.
some point you realize like that's starting to spread because every single trailer from Assassin's Creed Red is
Yeah.
literally this nonstop. I said it on the response I get to one guy that the Reddit page for Assassin's Creed, um, the Redditors have to put up a post saying like, listen, all these new people are coming in here. Can we just ban them because they're not like fans of the game. They don't care about the game. They don't care for the gameplay. They're telling us how to feel about the game or like that we should be angry. And all they want to do is talk about woke stuff, black this, black that, and eventually they ban them and then they say, listen, we're not talking about this shit no more. And I'm saying these people are tourists. So if the Reddit page is doing it because they want to refocus on the game itself, the gameplay and the story of the game, why can't the YouTube comment section be the same thing? Rather than just delete people's comments, how about we just stop the comments? And when
Why?
Ubisoft, well, I'll tell you why. When Ubisoft said, you know what? We tried this with Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Red. You guys went crazy. You wouldn't stop talking about this, and that. And you have these YouTubers spreading, making these videos, laughing at us. Everyone's looking at the comment section. You know what? Let's
Yeah.
block it. They've stopped all the YouTube comments for Assassin's Creed Shadows. There's no other discussion about it. All you're seeing is they drop a trailer or a snippet of a trailer of the gameplay, and people can't comment. People can't say shit. So now the only thing you can go off is just the gameplay. Now these guys are gonna take the trailers and go, create it for the people, whatever. But you've stopped the circulation of vitriol among your page, because it's okay if that happens on their page, but on your page that's a problem. It's okay if you go on a Reddit page that hates woke games and they're talking about this shit. That's cool, that's fine. However, on the Assassin's Creed main page, we want to talk about Assassin's Creed. No, why is Jaskier Black an assassin or samurai, right? So I think it works out well, and that's why if you go on the Reddit page for The Witcher 4, and you go on the Reddit page for Naughty Dog's game, you're not really gonna see these comments as much because everyone's copped on now. Just ban them all. Let them go talk about the game to themselves, but don't let them infect that bullshit to us.
I'll ask you again, who are you protecting? Like, I don't understand your logic here. Like, you're thinking in terms of, like, who are you trying to protect?
You're protecting the brand.
From what?
From everybody who's talking shit for no reason that has nothing to do with the game that you play.
So you lack
about?
so much confidence in your product being able to win people over just by the value proposition that you're putting on screen that you are willing to restrict.
No.
Access.
As soon as you stop the comment section, the people who are just there for the game and whatever else they're just gonna be there. What's happening here is you're stopping this circle jerk of people using negativity to negatively affect your game and talk about your game.
But how are you, like, again, like, I'm not understanding, like, how this benefits your game, Ty. Like, how does switching comments, I don't know what you're protecting in principle. Like you're not stopping people from talking negatively about your game. Like, the game is already down-rated. Like, they've already been ratioed
you've
across
reduced
this.
the visibility of it, and that goes a
Wow.
long way.
And okay, you've reduced the visibility on your platform. On Twitter, you're still gonna get vitriol and hate. You're still gonna get it on you.
The difference here is right. When you go on Twitter, these people have their little echo chambers of tweets, right? I don't look at Smash,
Okay.
JT, or any of these guys here. So that audience is that audience. It's always gonna be there. The problem is when you start letting general people, just casual people who might see these comments and might get influenced by these people, that's where the problem starts, right? So my casual friends don't know nothing about any of these, anti-woke people. They don't watch these videos. However, what they do see is when they go to watch Naughty Dog's new trailer, they watch it, and then they go to the comment section to see what's up. They start to see the vitriol there. What you're doing is you're stopping these people from being exposed to your potential and your fans.
So how do you stop that from, let's say, with this trailer specifically? How do you stop that from happening with IGN, GameSpot, who are not going to disable their comments, and everybody else that's showing your game, including the Game Awards?
You can only control what you can control, right?
So and then my point is, so what have you achieved, Tai?
On your end, your end, you've done your part.
But like, besides just look like a coward, because that's what people are gonna say is like, oh, now you're hiding things. You're not confident enough in your game.
Yeah, but these people, but who cares though? Because the people who care about the actual game, people who care about the actual gameplay and the story of the game, aren't gonna be affected by this. The only people who are complaining about the comments,
but
people who are complaining about the game.
Okay, but Taya, you do know that like most people are gonna watch this trailer on on IGN and on GameSpot and other sites more than they're gonna watch it on your website. So you doing this you are actually just counteracting. You are actually just doing something that is not really going to entice them it's not really going to deter the haters. Like, the haters are still gonna find ways or way like to respond to your game elsewhere. Like this, like your platform is for your audience. I get what you're saying in terms of saying, well, yeah, you're trying to protect your audience. I'm like, but you're not really protecting them because they are still going to see this negativity anyway when they go to
Hold
other
on.
platforms.
The main, like, if you think about the views, yeah, most of the views from Intergalactica is coming from the Naughty Dog YouTube page and also the Sony YouTube page.
Yes,
right?
and that one doesn't have the comments deactivated.
No, yeah,
They're
but none
all
of them
active.
should. Yeah, so what you have is you have 365,000 people on the IGN stuff, which is probably the third highest. But the main one has
Yeah.
like nearly like 900,000, whatever it is. In the same way that
What's-
the Rockstar page is probably going to have more GTA views, right?
Yeah, but like look at like GTA for instance. Like they will never like Rockstar will never disable on Rockstar's website they regardless of what they show, and there's been a lot of negativity about GTA 5 6, but they're so confident in like how like the power of their brand that they will just scoff at anyone that dares, like Rockstar won't even respond, they won't even entertain that shit.
No,
Because
if,
they're so confident in their
if
brand.
Rockstar was getting the same amount of like responses Ubi was getting,
They won't do anything. I
Nah.
promise you. Like where has Rockstar ever like budged for anyone, including the law, including lawyers that were trying to sue them, whatever?
no
They
one,
never
no one has,
never
no one has ever really budged for anyone, at least back then, right? But this is we're in a different environment. That this is the same thing. Why?
Oh, okay, this is
was it
for
creators?
the
Well, hold on. Yeah, I mean, the creators of GTA, I think, didn't they say recently, like, yo, Trump won the election, which is kind of a little bit iffy, you know? Or what? So even they're acknowledging that, yeah, listen, maybe some of the jokes we've done, it could be problematic. But Rockstar strives on controversy, right? I mean, they released the freaking sex version, the sex scene, or like some sex mini game in the game. So they actually enjoy this kind of stuff. However, there's controversy that you just don't need. It's just noise that's just stupid. So, in this
but like
case,
to me, Taya, you haven't justified, you haven't given me a reason like as to what the benefit, like what is the proven benefit. Like look at all the games that have received all this negative feedback. Has it stopped those games from not being successful? Go to Outlaws, go to Suicide Squad, every game, go back all the way to Saints Row, the reboot. All those games, when those people disabled the comments, did it change the fate of the game?
no, it didn't.
So like what are you protecting? Like I'm not understanding what is the tangible benefit here.
Okay.
Who-
Well, hold on. Let's flip it then.
Yeah.
Why leave the comments on if it doesn't change the material effect of the game?
Because it shows that you're confident in your product.
No,
and
no,
you're
it
not
does no.
scared.
No, but because the product doesn't change, right? So
No, it
nothing
doesn't.
changes. Yeah, it doesn't change. Yeah, so you are confident in your product, but what you do stop is the circle jerk of people on your page talking shit about black, about sexism, right? I mean, because listen, I think like me, you and Luke did I think when we did that stream before, where the first Star Wars comments was like, "Oh, she's a bitch," this and that. Like, I mean, like, why do you want that on your page? So you go on this comment. I mean, sorry, you go on
Yeah.
this video, this YouTube video, and the first thing they're saying is like, "Oh, black lesbian woman." First of all, like, what does that mean? Black lesbian woman. Oh, get out of our games.
Why are you so sensitive? Like that's my thing. Is like why are you so sensitive about people on the internet? And I'm not
No,
talking about you
no,
specifically.
no,
I'm
but
saying
specifically,
as a
but if
developer,
you're-
why are you so
Yeah, but
sensitive?
hold-
Ignore
no, but
the
hold on.
trolls.
But if you're
Simple.
but
Ignore them.
hold on. But if you're on YouTube,
Yeah.
right, and let's say you've sent this link to the actress or whatever it is, or who it is, and they're like, "Oh yeah, look at the trailer, yeah," and
Yeah.
all the black actors are saying, "Oh, black this," or "black DEI woke stuff." Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
that's not a very pleasant thing to be seen. Like it's
Well,
perfectly
that's the
fine.
internet. You
It's the
can't
internet, but
you need
yeah,
to
but-
grow a set of balls and stop being a bitch about it. I'm sorry to say this.
No, not even that, yeah, because it's their
Yeah.
platform, so they can, shut down the comments. So they need these people who
Why,
are complaining, well, they need to stop complaining and be like, they need to grow some balls and just stop
They're your
crying about it, right?
customers. They're your customers.
no, they're not,
They're gonna
because-
give you money potentially.
No, because there is nobody who's going to not buy this game because of the comments being turned off.
Okay. So
Right.
all I'm saying is that like Tai, it does not benefit your brand or your product to not to discourage
course
people
it
from
does.
commenting on you. How? How?
You haven't explained to me why. Okay, if we're saying right here that it doesn't materially affect the game, right? It's not going to affect the sales of the game. Okay, we both agree there. What is the benefit of having people go on your page and not talk about your game, but just talk about woke, DEI, black person, lesbian? What benefit does that bring to your game?
It doesn't need to like people's comments and people's opinions on your game doesn't need to benefit your game. All it needs to do is that it just needs to show that, you know what, I don't care what your opinion about my product is, whether you like it or not. We're proud to put it out there. If you want to make a jackass out of yourself and show that you're a racist, good for you. That's your opinion. But we're saying that our game or our experience is beyond your opinion. It doesn't. All you're doing is just exposing
No,
yourself
okay.
for
So
what
you're
like.
speaking
I'm
from
just
a
saying.
moral point of view, though. You're saying
Yes,
morally, or
like
whatever.
because this is only a. But like Taya, this is only a moral. Like what you're saying is completely based on moral. It's not based on actual practicality, because it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do any of the stuff that you're saying it does for the people, because the vitriol will find its way to whoever it is, whether it's the actors, whether it's the
But
people
should
making
you
the
try
game.
to limit it or not?
Why?
What do you? Okay. Well, okay. So
I don't think you should.
Okay. Well,
It's not
okay.
your place to
Okay, but
monitor
hold
and
on.
police
No, hold on.
customers.
That's not a moral question, though. Should you try
Yeah.
to limit vitriol and hate towards your product? That's not a moral question.
No, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
No, you
No,
shouldn't.
you shouldn't.
It's feedback from the public, and it's feedback that I believe you should be open
if
to.
it's feedback that involves race and gender, it's not about the
Yeah.
game. It's just about like, oh, black woman, ew. Oh, black bitch. Oh, well, oh, here we go
Yes.
again. Like, how is that feedback? Like, what kind of feedback is that?
It's people's opinions about your product, and you might not like that feedback, but I think you should allow people, or people should have the platform. It's this whole thing that, and it's the same thing that the likes of your Elon Musks have gotten over, is the fact, they've become, how can I say, this is the thing that's put them over in the public eye, is that they're not trying to they're not trying to restrict speech. They're allowing people to express their horrible opinions. The whole point is that for you
Yeah,
to
but-
get a
but-
bad
but-
take is
but
not the
this is
issue.
not-
It's how you respond to the
But
bad
this is
take.
not. But hold on. But this is not YouTube. So Elon Musk would be the equivalent of YouTube, like the actual company here, right? So Elon Musk and YouTube are saying like, "Hey, listen, we're not censoring shit." However, you ushers are allowed to block people on your page. You're allowed to post things up and remove comments potentially, right? So Naughty Dog is being offered that exact same thing. The question that they're being asked now is
Yeah.
there a benefit to having these people just say black, lesbian, blah blah blah, and they're
Absolutely
answer-
not.
Yeah, the answer is yeah. So that's what I'm saying. From a actual factual point of view, you keep saying like, "Oh, well, I don't get where you're coming from," or we just agreed that there's no benefit there. And now, if you speak about it from a moral point of view, well, why is it morally okay to let people just insult your game when it's based on nothing about the actual game? It's just based on the character's
Freedom of
race.
speech. That's all
Yeah.
it is.
No. Well,
Freedom of speech is
no,
the internet.
freedom of speech. This quote is very different and it applies to the government. Let's not talk about whatever, because listen, someone could go on Luke's channel right now and say whatever they want to say, and he can remove that comment. That's not freedom of speech. I'm not going to say freedom of speech, right? You wouldn't either. Seems Ushers is gone. Where did he go? Usher's just there. Man, I'm not even sure if I'm still live.
No, you're still live. Sorry, I'm still here. Sorry. I don't know what happened. Oh, I muted myself by accident. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I've got two
Um,
keyboards here, so I pressed the wrong one.
Okay.
Let me just move it. No, I'm still. All I'm saying is that, like, okay, I'm trying to understand. So, and I don't want us to dwell too much on this, because I think it's one of those points where we're gonna agree to disagree. And I see everybody on the chat says I'm tripping, so it's fine. So my thing is, like, I'm a big believer in freedom of speech, and I don't believe that the best way to counter freedom of speech, Tai, is by sort of hiding or by limiting or restricting. Let the people with bad opinions express their bad opinions. It's fine. Ignore them. Move on. But this thing of trying to protect or create protected spaces, I think, is bullshit, because of the fact that the internet is full of evil, of mean-spirited, blah, 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 blah. And you need to grow a freaking thick skin if you're in entertainment and you make products for the public. Stop being a bitch, stop being a coward and hiding behind PR and this and that. If your product is good and you are confident in your performance, you are confident in what you're representing, then there's no reason. Why do you need protection from text, from words? like, I don't get why people are so soft when it comes to this. This is not real life. It's the internet. All these people are hiding behind fake identities. If you are confident in your product, you will put it out there, and you will if they want to scream into a vacuum, it's fine. You can ignore them, and then you can release the product, and people will respect you for your balls. But the moment you start to limit speech because you're trying to protect people, I think that is the first, that's the first concession towards failure that you make. And that's just my opinion when it comes to that specific thing.
Okay, well, you're wrong.
It's fine. I've been wrong before, Taya, and I don't mind being wrong. Like, to me, that's part of the whole, of democracy, is that sometimes you're wrong, and when I'm wrong, I'll admit it. Yeah.
I think,
if you prove me wrong, I'll admit that, okay, you are right, I was wrong.
I think from a factual point of view, if it doesn't affect sales. However, I would actually push back and say that people seeing some type of negativity, I don't think it's going to have a huge material effect. However, it can change the discourse, and if certain things are aligned properly, it's going to become problematic. So when we look at marketing, for example, there is no marketing executive that's going to say, "Oh, this is great. Yeah. Oh, people are talking shit about the game. Oh, it's not about because they're going to say, how do we fix it?" And the point then becomes, well, we fix it by making the person white and a man. That's not a good answer to fixing this problem, because now you're saying, okay, well, we need to get rid of diversity or whatever it is, and then to appeal to these people. So if the creators are going to do that, then how do you fix the problem? Well, you just try to limit it the best way you can. And that way you do it by, just limiting the comment section so it doesn't get to spread around. That's just what it is. Look at spread around. Like my friend, he saw this trailer and he saw it on the I don't know if it was a PlayStation 1 or whatever it is, and he didn't see any of the comments. He doesn't even know that there's negative around this game because he's just a very casual gamer. However, he does look at YouTube comments, and the last thing you want somebody who's neutral to be seen is like people who shitting on the game saying, "Oh, she's a lesbian," all that kind of stuff. I had this chat with one of my guys.
Why are people so scared of words? Like, I'm so fascinated by how weak people have become in terms of just being resilient in the real world,
because
where real shit can hurt.
Very dog whistle like, because the pointer. I can give you an example of I was watching. Was it the Quartering, or it was when I was doing the Star Wars video, and one of the guys, I was watching this other video, and the guy said like he stopped watching Neurotic because everything was just very race focused or whatever it is. And there's a scene exactly where the lady from Loki, she pops up on the screen, and she's wearing her suit or whatever, and his first response was like, "Oh, body positivity and black." And that guy said like, "Yo, that just turned me off," because like really, like the first thing you see when you see this woman, first of all, like there are big women who can do security. In fact, it's probably more looked upon because she's big, and black people can do security as well. So he was like, why would you, like, that's such a, like, you're saying it in a negative way, like as if and you didn't say enough about the white guys, you didn't say enough about the white people. It's just you're focusing on picking on the black people. And he's like, that really turned me off, so I stopped watching it. Then I went to go watch that video, and yeah, it's correct. As soon as you see the black people, he just has to commenting. So the problem then becomes, if you're saying that something is shit or product is shit simply because the person is black or a lesbian,
yes.
Like what are we talking about? Like,
but that is,
if you're saying the only way this product can be good is if the person is white or a man, like, what is that? What does that mean?
It means you're a racist. Like, look, like.
So wait, hold on. I mean, if you go by that, and if most of the comments is people just saying, oh, black, lesbian, shit.
Yes.
Game.
Yes.
So we're saying that's
what
racist,
are you scared of? It probably is racist. A lot of shit. A lot of people say racist shit.
Comments.
Okay, fine, but I'm just saying that I just don't think it's good for your product. I think it shows that you are bending to the pressure of racists, and you are giving them power by showing them that their opinions can make you change what you initially intended to do. And if you do that, then that's on you. And I just don't think it's good marketing, and I just don't think it sort of poses a good value proposition in terms of confidence in your product. So I think the guys that I really respect the people that, regardless of their opinions, they're willing to stand on business and say, well, you know what, that's your racist opinion. We don't give a crap. In fact, that just ignore the trolls and go on with what they're making and what they're doing.
Okay, then. All right, let's move on to another Usher's controversial comment.
I was standing on business today. I threw quite a lot.
You were getting feedback. People were actually comment. You didn't really
Yeah.
comment back on what people were saying.
No,
You just
not a lot.
like-
But I got a lot of things. There were just too many, dude. Like they're still coming through, and I just couldn't get to everything.
Yeah, it was
I
okay.
responded to the ones that I thought were bitch made, so I went in on those guys.
I could
But
see. This dude over here, he says one of the main takeaways from the
and that's a
Game
black
Awards-
dude as well, that Noor dude, because he sent a he sorry to interrupt you, Ty.
Go ahead.
He sent a screenshot of a DM sent to him by a racist person, calling him all sorts of slurs because of the fact that he didn't like he was protesting about or had a problem with the Intergalactic trailer.
Okay. Well, he says one of the main takeaways from the Game Awards is that a lot of Western AAA devs are really clearly still focused on releasing more cringy slop. However, I want to
Yeah.
give a shout out to a few Western studios that that don't. I find this. I fucking hate this shit. I swear
I know
to
you
God.
do. I know you do. Yeah.
I just hate these motherfuckers so much. My issue with this comment is like
Yeah.
okay, even before I get to like a higher level or like higher point,
Yeah.
just on a foundational level, I said this to someone else before. There is never any point in my life where I've actually really been like it's West versus East. Like
Yeah.
when the East was dropping the ball, I never thought, oh, the West is so superior and so much better. When the East dropped the ball in making consoles, I'm sorry, when Sega dropped the ball in making consoles and the Nintendo GameCube was dropping, I didn't think,
Yeah.
oh well, now Microsoft Xbox is going to take up. I don't think like this. I don't think from a competitive
Yeah.
standpoint, especially when before then all these games used to come out at different times. Maybe the Japanese version comes out first, then the US version. Now they all drop day one everywhere. So
Yeah.
so I don't look at the gaming industry from a segmented point of view. It's just games or overall, right? And the West is going to have time when they probably do really well. When Cyberpunk came out, when Minecraft was there, Fortnite, PUBG, Skyrim. I never ever looked at Nintendo or even Square Enix and said, "What the hell are you doing, bro?" It just doesn't
Yeah.
work like that. So that's just my foundational point of view.
Yeah.
However, I always find these takes interesting because they come from a point of, I'm gonna tell you that Western games suck and Japanese games are better.
Yeah.
However, I'm going to exclude the Western games that are actually good. But I'm never going to bring up the Japanese games that actually suck or didn't do well or have bad ratings because I don't care about
Yeah.
them. I'm going to pick the games that kind of suit my vibe. And we can talk about Baldur's Gate 3. We can talk about,
Yeah.
Cyberpunk as well. I'm gonna talk about Space Marine. We're gonna talk about Kingdom Come. I'll give this guy credit. He's kind of picked the games that I was gonna say like, oh, what about these games, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Indiana Jones it just came out now. That's doing pretty well sales wise. So okay, we had Indiana Jones this year. We had Space Marine 2 this year. Space Marine 2 this year. I don't understand this obsession with shitting on Western games or Western developers. Maybe you can explain a little bit better to me.
Because they've declared us, the gamers, the enemies, most. We're the incels, we're the neckbeards, we're the regressive bigots and racists that they've really gone in on us as gamers. And I get why we all sort of gamers in general don't like gaming media and they don't like Western developers. Like I've got my examples, devs that I've got a bone to pick with because I feel that they'll do anything except do what gamers want. And I really feel that it's become a mentality since around 2020, 2019. I started to notice that it's become sort of like an attitude. This is, I think, after it all started, of course, around Gamergate with Anita Sarkeesian and all that BS. But it's cumulated to the point that there's a civil war, as I mentioned earlier, between gamers and the media as well as the industry. Gamers just actively hate Western devs because of who they hire and the sort of games that they're making. They're making games that nobody asked for. They're making experiences that no one is really interested in. And the ones that are making the sort of games that we like are sort of like outside, or they tend to be on the fringe. They're not really within an EA or an Xbox or a Sony. They literally, like, for instance, the guys that made Space Marine, the guys that are making Kingdom Come, Ed 3's, what is that? What's the other one? Oh, Expedition 30T. I don't know much about that or the developer. And ID has always been consistent. They've never really changed their vision in terms of what they make. So they keep doing that. You know, where people get pissed off is the day that Doom guy becomes Doom girl. Then that shit is gonna go to to shit. But so far, everybody's happy with these guys, and I get it. Like, so for me, it's this war that they've waged on us as gamers, trying to sort of placate us, tell us what we should be watching, what we should be consuming, saying, well, this is, you've had enough white male protagonists, for instance, or you've had enough toxic male protagonist. You need to open yourself up to something that's different. No, I don't need to. I don't need a lecture for $70. I'll pay for a lecture if I want it from you.
Okay. I think there's some points that I can agree with, right? You know, I don't think the media should be telling people what to do per se. However, I don't think even that's a problem. I think they can tell you their opinions and their views, which is perfectly fine. I think as consumers, you know, we just kind of tell them to get lost, or we pick the games that we like, right? So an example 100%. Of that is High on Life. High on Life came out and it has a bad Metacritic. They were like, we don't like these jokes. We don't think it's funny. But boom, the consumers gravitated towards it, right? And they loved it.
Yep.
When Hi-Fi Rush came out, once again, that's another game that the media didn't. I mean, we didn't rely on them to tell us if we liked it or not. We just jumped on it and we loved those games. So I think the consumers have always had power. You know, the media said, hey, Concord is actually a decent game. And most people just said, no, I don't care about it. And that's fine. I think we just kind of move on from these things. I guess maybe what like it triggered me or whatever it is, it's just this drive to pick and choose when we say Western games and Eastern games, especially when most of these people don't actually play a lot of Eastern games. Some of them will talk about Stellar Blade being, you know, the best thing and this is the way the game should be. Did they buy it? Some of them didn't buy it, obviously. One question I asked one of my guys who said this comment was, I told him, right here, right now, if you could choose, you know, no more Western games ever, only Eastern games, or vice versa, who would you pick? And of course, he paused and then he chose the West because he knows the West has the games he likes. He knows he doesn't want to play games that are primarily focused on anime girls. He knows that even though Meta 4 is regarded as a good game, he thinks the story is shit. He thinks the fact that like it has all these anime tropes is fucking garbage. Like he knows these things. Right? He doesn't want to play Xenoblade with freaking, you know, half naked women. And he thinks Final Fantasy is a good game. But if you ask him what his game of the years were, he would literally tell you Balatro, Space Marine 2. Like these two games were the games that he likes, and the East isn't giving you these games in the first place. So I'm just confused how you hate the West so much. However, when it comes to actually picking between a side in this war, you choose the West every single time because you want to play The Witcher 4. You want to play Cyberpunk, you know, 2077 2, and you know the East isn't going to give you these games, right? Yeah. So again, it's just a disconnect. And as much as listen, Starfield was a disappointment to him, just like to me. However, he likes the game. He thinks the game is a good game. He's looking forward to Fallout 5. You know, what Eastern games are you looking forward to? Dragon Quest? Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, no, you're right. Like you raise a very good point here, and this is the one point I'm in agreement with you is that when I stopped, I think like when I was in my early 20s, I sort of got over Japanese stuff. Like there was, I think it's after I watched, I don't know if you watched this, it's called Furikuri. I think I've told you about this. It's about a dude who has a portal in his forehead. Like he's got like monsters from another dimension. He's going to school, he's a normal kid, but for some reason one day this girl hits him with something over the head. And he starts getting interdimensional creatures coming out of his head. Just randomly, he'll get like a funny like thing poking out, and eventually at the end of the show, it will be a giant mech that he has to fight. I sort of got over like I was like, okay, I think I'm past this now because I don't get it anymore. And then that's when I started to sort of like most of my entertainment became very Western. So I'm never like primarily gonna go back to just consuming Japanese stuff because it's very abstract. It's the same thing with Kojima. Most of his stuff is abstract to a fault. I don't under I it gets to a point where I don't relate to it anymore. So there's no point in time in my life where I would say I just want to consume Eastern stuff. Unless what happens is that Korean game developers bring the level of their storytelling in their games to what we see in their movies, then definitely I'll go as far as saying yes, then I'll make the transition. But currently their stuff is still too abstract. There's still a lot of developers, especially in Central and Eastern Europe, that make awesome experiences. America, if you said to me I don't have to play another American game, I would gladly say to you, happy. Because I don't think Americans, I think those are the people whose games I don't give a crap about anymore. If I don't have to play another GTA or another Last of Us or any of those games made by Americans, I'll gladly say Taye, thank you. No, but not Europe. Europeans still make very dynamic and good games. I just don't have faith in American developers because I can't think of the last American game right now that I enjoyed made by American developers.
Yeah, so I think when it comes to America, especially when it comes to video games, I put them obviously as very important. I think some of them make the FIFA games. I think they make the Call of Duty games. They make the Minecrafts. Like there's a lot of games out there that like Silicon Valley, like even Spider-Man, God of War, like all this was made in like Santa Monica. Like this is all America, right? When we think about the last generation, the PS4 generation, even the PS3 generation, if we're gonna play this, console region game, it was probably America that really carried them the most. Obviously, Guerrilla Games is European, and that's all 20 million units. American companies are quite important anyway. And listen, I think there's just diversity in the region. I think maybe that's where the problem is because, like even in this picture right now.
Yeah.
Like he can say there's 4 or 5 games. Even Ghost of Eden came out this year. My friend played it. He liked it. My other friend played Star Wars Outlaws. He says it's not as bad as people made it out to be. The people I've talked to about Dragon Age, they've said like, yeah, there's some iffy parts, but the truth is it's actually not a bad game. The gameplay is actually quite fun. And the story's a bit inconsistent, but there's a lot to like about that game. It's like there's games that they like and games that they don't mind, but they'll always just highlight Stellar Blade, and whenever they want to highlight a metaphor, and they'll say like, yeah, they're much better. But the truth is, if you ask them about Japanese games as a whole, the other games that have come out, some of them flop. Some of them are not good games, but they just don't know about these games or they don't care about these games because it doesn't suit like their argument.
Do me a favor, Netai, because you probably have a better idea than me on this. What are some of the, let's say in the last year or two, what are some of the remarkable American games that we've gotten that were game-changing or that were influential or impactful?
American games or Western games?
No, American, specifically made by American studios. And I mean either in Canada or in the United States. Not South America.
Balatro is Canadian, so that's one.
I don't really care about that game.
I mean, Game of the Year. There we go.
I mean, like, okay, let's say AAA games or bigger games. Because I'll give this to America. Their indie scene, or they're not even the AA, but their indie scene is incredible. So many people are making awesome stuff. I'm not talking about indie or AA. I'm talking about like your bigger games.
Okay. Would you count South of Midnight? Was that made in America? The developer, Prax, was that what they're called? South of Midnight. I think you're muted again. Oh, something's happened. I can't hear you. Sorry, not South of Midnight. Midnight Suns. Just, I don't know if you're actually there, but I can't tell you at all. It seems like you muted yourself or your mic is gone. I wish there was someone in the chat who could help me out with this some of these questions. Okay, first games is So Frax Games that's one company. There are in Frax Games is in United States. I'm just gonna like take these notes down. Um, uh, what's going on here? Okay. So Frax United States, and we got Spider-Man 2, Insomniac United States, and then we got God of War, Santa Monica. What else did Sony release? We can't do Horizon. That's European. So what else? Frax Games, Spider-Man 2, God of War. Trying to think. Do we want to put Guardians of the Galaxy? You know, how did that game do? Guardians of the Galaxy video game. I'm more interested in its Metacritic because if it's a good game, then that makes a lot more sense. Okay, it did user score 8085. So we'll put Guardians of the Galaxy. That was made by Square Enix West. Oh, what's going on? Oh, my bad. Let me share the screen. I'm wondering if it's my stream because something maybe it's been choppy because I'm streaming on Twitch. So I'm streaming on Twitter and also streaming on YouTube. So maybe that's kind of messing up the vibe. Okay, so Oshus has gone to investigate, which is fine because I'm investigating too. I'm trying to find these Western games that were that good that came out in the last couple of years. Let's see, games of 2023. I'm gonna put Starfield there. Bethesda. He's not gonna like that. He's gonna say, "Well, that game didn't do too well," blah, 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 blah. But you know, excuse me, Starfield. Bethesda. We ain't gonna talk about Redfall because you know we know exactly what went on with Redfall. So we're not gonna do that. What else do we got? Okay, the 2023. We could talk about Deathloop actually. Deathloop. Metacritic. That was Arcane. Was that Arc? No, that was Arcane France. Yeah, we can't talk about that. Was it France? It was not the United States. I'll stick the name down anyway. Just whatever, and then he can confirm. Deathloop has an 88 Metacritic, but Europe. I hope he hurries up because I'm supposed to join Loke's show very soon, and I'm gonna have to bounce. Ubisoft Assassin's Creed. How did Valhalla do? I don't think that's United States actually. Let's see anyway. It was made by Ubisoft. Did Ubisoft have any American studios actually? I don't actually think so. Let's see. Director, let me share the screen in case anyone's watching. Publisher, developed by Ubisoft Montreal. That's Canada. That will be on the list there. I think it's my side because I don't know why that link just vanished again. Hello.
Hey, Ty.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah, man. No. We really had I think our area is experiencing a power outage. Something we haven't had in almost months.
Oh,
But yeah, third world problems.
I've been trying to find some of the games that have come out.
Yeah.
Specifically American studios.
And what have you got?
Okay. In terms of what I was able to, just do a quick read up on, Pharax Games created Midnight Suns, and that's the Marvel card game that was received well but didn't sell well.
Loved that game. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Spider-Man 2, Insomniac Games, West American studio. God of War, Santa Monica, Western studio. Guardians of the Galaxy was West. That game has a Metacritic of I think 80. Starfield.
I love that game.
Metacritic of 83. Deathloop is in France, I think. I think this was Arcane France that made Deathloop, so that wouldn't count. But that was 88% Metacritic. Ubisoft. I don't know if it was the Ubisoft studio.
Yeah, Quebec and whatnot. Which one?
Don't have any American one. The guys who made Prince of Persia.
I think is that not? No, that's Europe. I think that's Europe.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think that would be Europe as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was from 2023 anyway. I can't really 2022. I can't think of any more. Or nothing really pops to mind. There's a few indies.
So okay, so outside because most of those games that you
wait, let me see what this guys. Sabotage Studios, the guys who made Sea of Stars.
Yeah. Oh, the small game, the 2D game. Yeah.
Yeah, Sea of Stars. Where are those guys from? Sabotage Studios. Let me see. I think they might be European or the West.
Yeah.
Just Sea of Stars. Here we go. These guys are from. Word. So tell me where they're from. Just telling me. Trying to see what role-playing developed and published by Sabotage Studios. Yeah. Where's their address?
It doesn't say.
Let me get it. Sabotage Studios is. I don't know. Kind of joint development. No, they just keep talking about things they like. I'm not too sure where they're from, anyways. But yeah, those are the games I've found.
Yeah. So that's actually a very interesting combination, and a lot of the games that you've mentioned are actually, or the studios that make those games. I feel that a lot of those studios are currently in decline. Look, those games are still good, but again, to me, it's games that I don't really play. Like, for instance, a lot of the games that you mentioned are PlayStation exclusives. Like a lot of the games from Santa Monica and all those studios, Spider-Man from Insomniac. I don't really play any of those games. Because it's, of course, the virtue of I don't have a PlayStation 5, really, but I'm also not interested in those type of games, really. So if I have to look at the games that... So my initial point stands of saying, if it's Western games, if it's from Europe, I'll definitely play them. I don't think there's anything I'll miss in America if I stopped playing American games. I think those games can completely disappear from my library. I'm not talking about the ones that they've made. I'm talking about like future ones. In fact, I can go as far as saying anything from 2022 up made in America, I don't really need to play.
And I think that's a fair thing to say. But how about this? 2022 upwards, is there any Japanese games you feel like you need to play? Not Japan, Eastern games.
Stellar Blade. Hello. I mean, Wukong. There's so many, dude. Like, there's a lot. Like, I finished like the most played game this year on my Xbox list that was about 250 hours was The First Descendant, which has never happened before. I've never had in 2 generations a Japanese game being my most played game. Blew my mind.
Okay.
Sorry, a Korean game. It's not even a Japanese game.
Yeah. But you see,
but
that's
yeah.
the thing. Yeah, I think that's gonna come and go. Like, and I don't mean that in a disrespect to the quality of what those guys can make. I just mean it in the sense of more, like for example, now like Dead Space remake, right? That was made by Motive, right? And that's in Canada, right? So obviously not American, but still a Western game. So if you want to say that there's all these games that you just not that interested in, I would actually agree. I think that happens, right? Oh, let's not forget Diablo 4 as well came out. That's another Western game that's good. Star Wars Jedi Survivor was another good game. I mean, like I could go on for like, in terms of games that are good. I think let's not forget Alan Wake 2 as well was another Western game. I think the point I'm trying to say is that like there's times when the East will do better, and there's times when the West will do better.
I agree.
Games right now is literally probably Genshin Impact. That's the game that you're not interested in.
For most people, yeah, I don't play gacha game. The only gacha game I play is what is that game? Also from Korea. I love Koreans. I must move there. What's that game? Like you're also playing it. The one with the girls when you're shooting the booties go boom boom.
Oh, Nikke.
The one
Nikke,
yes.
Yeah.
That's an awesome. I wish there was more gameplay or there was more game in that game.
I actually like the game, but I think it's quite interesting. Like
I think it's interesting, but I would love a AAA game built on those bones.
Yeah,
I think, especially if you like strategic games, I think like, can you imagine an XCOM made by that developer?
I thought about that. I actually thought about that. I thought that'd be good. Even like with like Baldur's Gate's mechanics, like with the whole climbing system,
yes.
That would be a cool game. The problem is I don't think people in the East like Baldur's like CRPGs. I think they prefer turn-based games that are quite like basic, like your typical Pokemon games, as opposed to a move in this grid-like manner. I don't think they're into that.
Sorry, just a quick one, Ty. Are we joining Loke?
We are. Is he on already?
He sent the link, but this was like he said at 11, right? He sent the link at like 5 to 10.
He didn't send me a link. No, I mean he said like I'm just messaged him there. I'm like, where's the link?
Yeah. Just give him a shout quickly because he said you confirmed. And he sent me the link a long time ago, so I've it's been chilling here. So just I'm just gonna check on his page if he's on already.
Okay.
While we're just chit-chatting here.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think this
Oh, okay. Now he sent it. Okay, then I guess I'll see you there. All right. So
we're gonna jump off.
Yeah. Thanks for coming through, and we'll do this again. And this was the first time.
Thanks for joining, guys, because I see that we had quite a bit of engagement in the chat. But yeah, thanks for joining, guys. It was
on Twitter. So yeah, that was
Kenwell. Always a pleasure, man. Games Talk, same. We're jumping to TSW now.
Yeah, TSW. I think I think everyone's gone now, so I wouldn't even like.
Okay.
To go check it out, but yeah, TSW.
Okay, cool.
All right,
All right, see you, Nana.